Hey there guys, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIII. In the last episode, our Crystarium expanded after beating Barthandelus and Orba. And I leveled up our Crystarium and came very close to maxing out everyone's primary roles with the CP we've gathered since we've got on Grand Pulse. And at the end of the last episode, I advised you guys to track back to Tajin's Tower at the CP grind spot that we were at earlier the first time we came to Tajin's Tower. So if you're wondering about this grind spot and how to do it, I explain it in detail on the last episode. So if you're short of CP and you want to know a decent way to get some CP, then check the last episode. Now this certainly isn't the fastest way to get CP in Final Fantasy XIII. However, it is the fastest way that you can get CP within Chapter 11. So this and two other spots are pretty much the same, more or less. This one was the closest to us, so that's why I went ahead and chose this spot to be our grind spot. So we're in Tajin's Tower on the 6th tier. And in order to get CP here, we're just on the stairs with the save point. If you head to the bottom of the stairs, there'll be a battle with 5 Pulsework Gladiators. So you can see them walking around down there. Defeating them will get you 8,000 CP. After you defeat them, to get them to spawn back, if you run upstairs, there's an enemy you can fight upstairs, a vampire. After you take out the vampire, by the time you walk back down, they're all here. So I'm going to quickly slay these guys for 8,000 CP, and then I'm going to spend the CP I've got. Alright, so for taking them out, you can see I got 8,000 CP. That's why this place is such a good grind spot. Now, I actually timed with a timer how long it took me to take care of the battle downstairs and then run upstairs and take care of the fight up here. So the fight downstairs will give you 8,000 CP. And then the fight upstairs will give you 2,000 CP. Now the only reason we're fighting the guy upstairs is so that the guys downstairs will respawn so that you can fight them again. Alright, so pretty much how long it took me to kill the guys downstairs, run upstairs and kill the guys upstairs, and then run back downstairs. It took approximately 2.5 minutes per battles. So basically, it takes 2.5 minutes to kill the guys downstairs, run upstairs, kill the guy upstairs, and then run back downstairs to have the enemies respawn. So in total, you're getting 10,000 CP every 2.5 minutes. Now, if you can manage to preemptive strike the guys downstairs, then you can get it. You can get 10,000 CP in about 2 minutes flat. Now, usually you don't want to preemptive strike the guy upstairs because I figured this out while grinding for CP. If you preemptive strike the guy upstairs, he's really easy to preemptive strike, but doing that will cause the guys downstairs to not respawn back for some reason. I think it's because you kill them so fast upstairs, it doesn't give them enough time to respawn downstairs. So if anything, make sure you preemptive strike the guys downstairs and then run upstairs and take the guy out normally and then back downstairs. So doing that, you'll get 10,000 CP every 2 minutes. So I advise you guys to get at least 6,000 CP, 5 to 6,000 CP while here. And that's if you were already if you already maxed out your character's primary roles, or you were very close to maxing out all your character's primary roles. Now, if you don't have your character's primary roles maxed out on Crystarium Stage 9, note that we did expand our Crystarium from Stage 8 to Stage 9. So on Crystarium Stage 9, you need to max out all your primary roles. So if you're nowhere near close, I would suggest to get the max amount of CP, which is 99,999. Spend all your CP once you've gathered up max CP, and you should be very close to maxing out your roles. And then after you're very close to maxing out your roles, meaning you've already gathered 999,999 CP, then you're supposed to stack up 600,000. So in total, the total amount of CP that you should have gathered here would be 1,600,000. And I know that's a lot. So if you want to know how long it took me to get 600,000 CP, it took me about an hour and a half. So if you add up the total amount it would take you to get 1,600,000 CP, it would probably take you 4 hours. About 4 hours. But that is really the fastest way you can do it. There's not really many options open to us at this point because we're still on chapter 11. So yeah. That's pretty much all I can say. If you want to be maxed out on your Crystarium, it's going to take you 3.5 to 4 hours grinding at this grind spot. Alright, so now I'm going to quickly max out my character's roles for you guys. Commando and Ravager is already maxed out for lightning. So all we need to do is max out 2 crystals. And bang, lightning's primary roles are maxed out. Now I'm going to do the primary roles first, and then I'm going to do the secondary roles. Alright, so Vanille needs to max out her Ravager role, because her Saboteur role and her Medic role are already maxed out. Alright, so that's it for Vanille. Moving on to Fang. We just need to max out her Sentinel role, because her Commando role and her Saboteur role are already maxed out. Moving on to Saz. Alright, so that takes care of Saz's Commando role. And all of Saz's primary roles are maxed out. Moving on to Snow. All that's left to max out is his Sentinel role. And all of his primary roles are maxed out. Now finally, let's finish up Hope. And all that's left is his Medic role. And all of his primary roles are maxed out. Alright, so now all of my characters have their primary roles maxed out. Now let's talk about upgrading their secondary roles. So we already started working on the synergist role for Lightning, Fang, and Vanille. And if you want to know why we are upgrading all three of their synergist roles first, it's so we can use the Paradigm synergist. That way for all battles we can fully buff our characters within the matter of seconds. Alright, so let's go ahead and work on Lightning's first. Now let's go ahead and spend all the CP we can on her synergist role. And she will learn in fire, in water, in frost, protect, in shell, and let's go ahead and get that roll level. Alright, so that's all we can do for Lightning. Let's go ahead and move on to Vanille and buff her up as a synergist. She'll learn Bar Fire, Bar Thunder, Boon, Protectora. Now this is really useful because it significantly raises target's physical resistance for a short time. And that's all we can do for now. So close to getting that roll level. Now let's work on Fang. She can learn Faithra and Bravera. Protectora. Shelra. And Haste. Now take note, you need to progress Fang far enough down her synergist role so that she learns Haste. This is very important because she is the only one in our current battle team that can learn Haste right now at this point. Lightning will be able to soon, but she can't right now. So Fang is going to be putting Haste on the battle members. Now this is very important, guys. Make sure you advance Fang far enough down her synergist role so that she learns Haste. Alright, so that's the good thing about progressing Lightning, Vanille, and Fang down the synergist role, because as you can see, they each learn different abilities. Some of the abilities are the same, but generally they're different. This means that they complement each other. So that's very, very useful, because what's the point in having two synergists with the same exact skills? You know, everyone has generally different skills in our battle team for a synergist, and that's really useful. Alright, so now we have all of our characters' primary roles maxed out, and our three main battle team members progress far enough down the synergist role so they can learn some great abilities. Now let's go ahead and work on Saz. Now, you're going to want to progress Saz down the medic role because he's already a synergist. So let's make him a good enough medic so that if we have to, we can use him in the field as a medic or in the battle as a medic. And he can learn Cura. Get that roll level. He can also learn Curasa, but we don't have enough experience to get him over there yet. Moving on, let's work on Snow as a synergist. And he can learn Bravery. Faith. And Boon. Finally, let's work on Hope. Now, you should develop Hope as a Saboteur because he already knows Synergist, Ravager, and Medic. So Hope can learn Dispel as a Saboteur. Curse Ga. Jinx. Poison Ga. Sloga. And let's get that roll level. Further ahead, he'll learn Panga and Faga. Alright. So now we have spent our CP that we grinded for. And we progressed our characters a good ways into their secondary roles. This will greatly help you guys out in the upcoming battle, especially learning the Synergist role with Vanille and Fang. Because Fang can learn Haste. Alright, so once we've done the CP grinding and you're up to date, we could go further, but we're gonna wait. For now, let's take a look at the mission list. For you guys who didn't know, if you press X or square to pull up your map, and then press X or square again, you can pull up your mission list. This way, you'll see what missions you have completed and what missions you've skipped. So if you've been following this walkthrough, you should have the first 28 missions taken care of because we've completed every sea stone we came across except for 2. Alright, so now we're going to go find some new sea stones, and we need to get from mission 29 because we've already done missions 1 through 28. So we're going to do sea stone missions 29 through 34. And then once we're done with sea stone missions 29 through 34, we're going to do a tad bit more CP grinding, and then we're going to be off to Cocoon for the final battle. Alright, so you may be wondering why I'm only going to sea stone 34 whenever there's 64 missions. Well, that's because all the missions past 34 are really hard, and they're in the Fault Warrens, which is the Titan Trials. And it's best to save those missions for the post game. So for those of you who don't know what post game means, it's the game after you beat the final boss. So after you beat the final boss of Final Fantasy 13 and the story's over, you can do all the optional stuff, which is like the Sea Stone missions 34 or 35 and up, the Titan Trials, which is the Fault Warrens and stuff like that. Now you can actually complete some of those missions right now, but it's going to be very hard since we're only on Crystarium Stage 9. Because generally you're going to want to be on Crystarium Stage 10. So you can have access to all the characters' stats and all the characters' abilities. You want to be progressed, you know, maxed out with all roles. and stuff like that before you start attempting the higher missions, because they're very, very hard. And at our current level, we'll get slaughtered on the A rank missions. Although the C and B, the D, C, and B rank missions are pretty manageable at Crystarium Stage 9, especially since we've already maxed out our character's primary roles. But for now, we're just going to go to Sea Stone Mission 4, or 34. Alright, so for those of you who didn't know, certain Sea Stones will serve as teleport devices. So as long as you've completed the first 28, you should be able to teleport to any area on Grand Pulse, which is another reason why we completed the first 28 missions. That way we don't have to continue running back all the way back to like the Archlight Steep or the Mahabara. Since we have done the first 28 Sea Stone missions, we can teleport virtually wherever we want. Now, every Sea Stone mission does not serve as a teleport stone. Only certain stones will. Luckily, the first 28 missions give you enough teleport stones to teleport to pretty much every area on Grand Pulse. Alright, so now we're going to need to take on Sea Stone Mission 29. So the Sea Stone location for Mission 29 is in Mahabara, at the Maw of the Abyss area, which is pretty much the entrance. So in order to get there, let's go ahead and exit Tajin's Tower by taking the stairs up. Then return to the inner ring and head over to the central elevator. Alright, so from the central elevator, the closest teleport stone is in Orba. So let's go ahead and ride the central elevator to the apex, which is the top of the tower. Alright, so once back at the top of the tower at the Cloven Spire, go ahead and head to the elevator at the northern part, indicated by the destination marker. Now, we're supposed to travel to Cocoon right now, but before we do that, we're taking care of Sea Stones missions 29 through 34. So if you want, you can go to Cocoon right now, but you will have a lot of stuff to do during post-game. So getting Sea Stones missions 1 through 34 done the first time we're on Grand Pulse before going back to Cocoon will make it a lot more quicker when you actually come back, because once you come back, you're probably going to be really strong and you're going to want to jump into the interesting missions and the harder missions instead of messing around with all the easy missions that can be done now. So we're going to go ahead and get them missions out of the way while we're here. That way, whenever we do come back from Cocoon, we can immediately start working on the harder missions. Alright, so once you've rode the elevator back to Orba, go ahead and follow the path to the road right in front of Orba. So we got to get out of this ice. Alright, so once you get to the road and out of the ice, go ahead and jump the gap. And the nearest Seath teleport stone is mission 28. which we completed earlier. And it's directly ahead. At the end of the road, instead of turning right and going down to Orba, turn left and you'll find the sea stone. Now, as long as you completed this mission earlier, which you should have if you've been following this guide, you can choose to teleport or view mission summary. Let's go ahead and teleport. And the destination we're going to be teleporting to is the Archlight Steep, Northern High Plain. So hopefully you have all these options available to you, meaning that you completed the first 1 through 28 sea stone missions, or else your options are going to be limited because you can only teleport to the sea stones that you've completed. So if you don't have the Archlight Steep, Northern High Plain, I would suggest to teleport anywhere in the Archlight Steep, or maybe Mahabara. If worse comes to worse, Valis Media. But hopefully you have the any sea stone in the Archlight Steep. So we're going to choose to go to the Northern High Plain. Alright, give me a minute. Alright, so you should be somewhere on the Archlight Steep, and we are directly in front of the Mahabara entrance, which is right where we need to go for Sea Stone Mission 29. It's towards the entrance of Mahabara. So hopefully you got this teleport destination and you're here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly head over to the save point and save the game. And that's going to conclude this episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIII. So hopefully you guys have kept up with the walkthrough and you've got the first 28 Sea Stone missions taken care of. And hopefully you guys grinded enough to max out your character's primary roles for Crystarium Stage 9. And you've worked on getting enough CP up to advance everyone down the Synergist role. Or at least your main party members down their secondary roles of your choice. Just make sure, if you're using Fang, make sure you learn Haste on her Synergist role, because that's pretty much the most important thing you can do right now in terms of developing your character's secondary role, because Haste is very, very important. Alright, so that's going to conclude this episode of Let's Play Final Fantasy XIII. I'll see you guys next time, wherever we head into Mahabara, and take care of Sea Stone Mission 29.